how did you decide to get into development? Because I want to start talking a little bit about that, and I think a lot of builders would find this very interesting. Why get into development? Why not do something that a little bit less stressful?
So the plan was when I left my last job it was a property syndicate, a commercial property syndicate or property fund manager, was to do something similar, but I quit my job a week before COVID started, which wasn't great. But then as a result, they asked me to stay on, which I was also happy to do because it gave me some confidence going into this uncertain period. Stayed on until June that year, and then as everybody knows now in hindsight, the property market went nuts in COVID because they gave us, cash was so cheap. And so as a result, in my hunt, kind of having coffee with people and the property industry, throwing a few balls in the air and seeing what lands, I met a guy, Mitchell, my business partner now. We'd met before, but we can't remember where. We kind of knew each other somehow. Had a quick coffee, had a chat about an opportunity that I knew in terms of community housing providers looking for land and looking for houses, etc. And that was the initial avenue we thought together we would explore. I didn't think that'd be my overall business. I thought it would just be one of my side businesses. Find a site, build 4 to 6 homes for this community housing provider, and as a result, the market went nuts. We could sell them way at a much higher price in the open market. So we sold our first 6 homes ourselves. No real estate agent. That's how hot the market was.
Wow! And how did you do that?
We downloaded one of those platforms, CRM platforms, and then just started pumping. A lot of learning because I have a lot more respect for off-the-plan residential real estate agents now, because the 6 houses. We sold each house like 3 times. By the time everyone does DD and you find out their mortgage broker doesn't know what they're doing, and then and you extend a couple. You end up, it's like trying to sell 30 homes and you're just getting 6 contracts at the end.
Right.
So from then on, we haven't sold any ourselves. We've realised and we end up getting higher value at the next development using agents. Like every inexperienced landlord, you'll realise agents are your bread and butter.
More and more, as the building industry gets harder and harder, and the market starts shifting again in the future, a lot of builders will start to look at doing their own developments and doing their own speckies or whatever the case may be, right? Because it's way less effort in terms of dealing with clients and all those things that builders hate, right? But obviously it comes with its own challenges. So what did you think development was going to be like before you started that 6 unit development? And what were some of the surprises that sort of came along the way that you found?
The first surprise was, so keep in mind my last job, which was actually a blessing. It's funny how everyone starts a business and it's going well, they get asked, how did this happen? You end up having some arsehole in your life that forced you to do your own thing. I had that at my last job. This new boss started and he kind of just verbally abused me so much that I was like, nah, I'm doing my own job. I'm doing my own thing. I'm out. And so the stress from just managing that job going into development, I feel like my stress is probably 30 to 40% of what it was, sometimes even less.
Wow, okay.
It's yin and yang. But development doesn't suit everyone, because keep in mind, every dollar you've saved goes out. Then for 18 months, it trickles out. 18 months later, you get paid back if things go well. And end of the day, to do a development, you need a reasonable amount of capital, and to get your hands on the capital is a lot of pain. So then to go and give it away for 18 months, hoping that you're not making mistakes, that's probably a harder thing that most people don't realise.
Like years and years of saving up and building up equity in your home and whatever.
Exactly. That's why I think a lot of people get to, especially in their 20s, grow their net worth, should I say, quite quickly. Then when they get to a point where, say, they've bought a house and now they've got 700 grand of equity somewhere, in the house, cash, KiwiSaver, now they've got to risk that to go to the next phase. And what I've witnessed, a lot of people pause there.
They're not willing to take that next risk. Now they've got a wife, a couple of kids.
Correct.
Now they're not going to do that anymore, and that's where they kind of plateau out.
Exactly. Save 100 grand, then all of a sudden they've got 600 grand equity, so they've gone, 600%. And then you talk to them 10 years later and they're still got in the same house, nothing else. Yeah. Because they're too, there's risk to be taken to get to the next step.
So in terms of developing your first project, I assume you just sort of buy the land, you get some expert advice, consultants to come in, they consult, you get an architect to draw it all up, you've sold it all off yourself, you get a builder to come build it. Pretty easy peasy, right? Make your money, on to the next one. Was it as easy as that?
Yeah, like I told my wife, we went to work this morning, bought a site, called the builder, 6 weeks I'll go and collect the check. In a funny way, it is actually quite a simple process. But
when you say it like that, yeah.
But there are lots of things along the way that you have to navigate. Like, for example, we had a big week with council last week, which takes a lot of, patience and.
So what are some of the examples of things that can go wrong?
Time is your worst enemy with developments. So keep in mind, say I said before, say we spend 3 mil on that 6 houses, roughly speaking. Your finances then, so when you get to the end, your finance is drawn down. And quite often at the end, when you have CCC delays or title delays, which is the most common one, obviously you have to have everything done on site, your title 2 to 4C signed off, and then that goes to Land Information New Zealand, LINZ, and then they vary between 5 and, 100 days. So when you're sitting at the end there with 3 mil of debt at whatever your funder is funding you at, often second-tier funders, your daily cost to wait for council to send you a document to say, hey, look, you failed on the retaining walls, you need to change this. Each day to get your architect or your structural engineer then to update the drawings and resubmit and give council a phone call. Each day is thousands of dollars, and your margin can get eaten up. I was surprised. This is something I wasn't quite aware of, how quickly your margin can disappear at the end. I'm talking a couple of months here or there, depending on the project.
Right. So people think they've built the project, they're ready to go. They're like, cool, we're just waiting for title now. And what they don't know is the bit after that of like how that can get all chewed. The margins can get chewed because of funding costs or whatever. Probably more funding costs, right?
Yeah, you're just sitting with all this debt. Whereas through the project, it's like gradually growing. You're sitting with all this debt at the end, and then you start getting these like document battles, and you're knowing like we got a spelling mistake on the last development. It cost us like a week. You don't want to work out what that spelling mistake cost. It was horrible. But anyway, so that's what a good developer, and we're working towards getting perfect at this if we can, is to get documents for CCC very well lined up, and your 2 to 4, which is your titles, get that submitted early, get that out of the way, so that you're waiting for CCC and not titles.